What is up, guys? It's Gray Haas, and I don't like to name names, but Mindy R, JS, Sarah W, and Gerald G, they are the Climax teens who all decided to join the Supercast last week. Guys, we have just a few more days of the sale that we're doing over on Supercast, and you can join right now by heading to mega.supercast.com. Please, please, please give it a consideration. As we know, the rapture may or may not be coming soon, and you don't want to be snatched like a thief in the night without throwing a few shekels toward your favorite podcast. Mega.supercast.com, and we'll see you over there.
We are here, the Lord, we are here, and we're ready to podcast.
Hiya, I'm Halle Levant, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our Mega Church a tiny family feel. Ooh, we love to introduce you to members of our church staff and sometimes people from our community, and I always find it to be a treat and a treasure. But today, per usual, I'm here with my co-host, and we're going solo today with no guest because we're here live with our Supercast supporters in the YouTube chat. Did I say that right, Gray?
Yes, you did, Hallie. That was great.
Okay, great. Well, to our Supercast members, thanks for being here. We're going to improvise based on your suggestions and crank out a whole new episode. You know what? It's almost like the way the Holy Spirit works. You know how the Holy Spirit will intercede for us on behalf of the Father? Well, our Supercast members, they have interceded on behalf of the episode, and they've given us some fun suggestions, and they're going to keep doing jokes in the chat that we're going to steal their jokes for the episode. And per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Welcome, Gray Haas.
He's up on the cross, and that's why he's the boss, Hallie. How are you?
Oh, you know I am blessed. And yes, Jesus is the boss.
He is the boss. And isn't it nice to think of the boss as being on the cross because he's looking down? He's obviously not nailed there anymore. He's free from the cross. But now sometimes I like to imagine Jesus standing on the cross, kind of on top of it because he's conquered death, and he's also telling us all what to do from up there.
Yes. I mean, I think Jesus is the boss, and I wonder how Jesus feels about the cross. I wonder if when he sees people
I think he doesn't even care about it. I think he's probably like, easy.
He has no emotional reaction to it anymore?
No, I'm sure he's just like, did that.
Well, I guess he doesn't have emotions because he
not negative ones.
Because he doesn't have a physical body right now.
If he wants to, he can.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to. And he actually might soon, Hallie. Have you heard a lot of people talking about the rapture coming up any day now?
Oh, my goodness. But wait, now that I'm thinking about it, if he doesn't have a body right now, then is he a he?
Just don't get lost in that, Hallie.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, flying around on the internet, a lot of people are saying 9/23, that's going to be the day. Yep. And, over here at Twin Hills, we don't really get into the date that much. We just know that it's
soon.
Steve says it all the time. A lot of times Steve will say, if you've been thinking about doing that thing like making a gift to the church, now is the time to do it because in a few weeks, months, probably not years, it won't matter because Jesus is coming back. He's going to be standing right up on the top of that cross saying, let's go. And you'll be stuck going, oh, I wish I had, obviously made a contribution to Twin Hills or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, I got my bodysuit under my clothes at all times.
I know you've been sort of like picking at your wrists and stuff. What's going on?
Well, I'm having a skin issue,
right.
A pretty bad rash because I don't even take my bodysuit off in the shower. I got a Spanx bodysuit. Spanx?
Do you think it's not letting you breathe, your skin breathe? Because your skin is a large organ, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the largest organ. And it's weird to think of the skin, the epidermal layer, as an organ. I think that's kind of gross, and so I don't really think about that, or I don't categorize skin as an organ because I think organs can only be on the inside, and that's just how I feel.
I kind of hate the word organ, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't like the way it sounds, and
Yeah.
I definitely don't really like to think about body parts as organs.
We don't have an organ at Twin Hills.
No.
And you know why? Because it's not relevant. You know what I mean?
I remember early days in the church, and I wasn't here yet, but do you remember that Steve did an organ burning? And I thought that was such a good idea because I think, another church that had gone under something had donated a bunch of instruments to the church, and Steve said, not here. And I think they hauled a bunch of organs out to the parking lot and just set them on fire because he really wanted to show that's not our vibe here. And while they did that, I think we had a guy play electric guitar, but that was before my time.
I'm just assuming that of all the instruments the God of the universe wants to hear, I'm just assuming organ's not one of them.
No.
I honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't think sitar is one of them. When the Beatles started getting into that sitar stuff, it just really felt off to me, and like it's not something God would like. I feel like God could even listen to like, I wanna hold your hand. Like that's sweet, Yeah. That's kind of like a God honoring thing. This sitar sound, I don't think God prefers it.
No.
God doesn't prefer a kazoo.
That's why I for a lot of my messages that I've been doing with my teens who come to Climax, I'll have a MIDI pad up on stage with me just to underscore certain moments. So, I'll say something totally lit and then I'll be like, I'll do stuff like that. Wah, 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 or there's one that kind of went awooga. I didn't like that, but and then I'll go into my message.
You know what? I also think that the Lord is not interested in anything with banjo, though I find banjo to be a very American instrument. Got into a little bit of a tiff with one of my daughters this week who tried to tell me that the banjo originated in Africa. It came from a gourd instrument. Oh, my daughter, who I just had to rip out of women's studies class in her high school being offered, as well.
What are we even? I just don't get that, guys. What are we even studying?
I know.
We don't have a men's studies. What are we even studying? Women's studies. What are we even studying?
Well, I think men's studies, you could also just call it what it is, which is the medical industrial complex. Medicine in general is really only studying men. So I think it's not called men's studies, it's called medicine.
Right. Okay. I mean, the only women that I can imagine studying, and I don't know if that's the word for it, but it's like I love to study types of women that really honor God. And maybe that's even something for my next Climax message where I'd be like, what type of woman are you going to be? Walk, walk.
Ooh, wow. That sounds really cool.
Thank you.
And I don't know how I would ever answer that question of what woman I want to be. Are we allowed to want things and be what we want?
Well, I guess it's like, do you know the metaphor I would use, Halle, is bumper bowling? Where you would be like, ladies, you're playing bowling, but are you going to pick up a tennis ball and go throw it against the back wall of the bowling alley? And this is actually this is a talk that I did when we had a teen bowling night. No, I said, teens, you're bowling. Ladies, you've got a bowling ball and you're throwing it down that alley, and those bumpers that are keeping that ball to make you have a strike every single time. And of course, I make the girls and the ladies do the bumpers. I let the guys do whatever they want. But those bumpers can represent the men in your life. They can also represent Jesus and Christ specifically. And I think that's really good for ladies to understand that those things that are keeping your ball from going in the gutter and having a strike every time are, the men in your life. So you're getting to play bowling, I guess, is the want and the choice that you have. But, you do have these parameters to keep you in line and in the lane.
Is this a free will conversation? Are we talking about whether or not humans have free will?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is a free will conversation. And if we want to get really deep into it, sometimes I think that ladies might not have as much free will as men.
Oh.
What do you think, Halle? And I mean, I'm only asking that because I think I'm right.
Well, you're going to get no argument from me here because, what?
Good.
Frankly, because I'm a biblical woman, A, and B, I've been hearing a lot of GOP leaders talking about how just the head of the household should get the vote of the household,
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, you know what? If that takes one thing off my plate, great, because I'm already the one in the house that does the taxes and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So if I could get that taken off my plate, plus I almost feel like it's become such a point of pride in the United States. People wear stickers. I voted and stuff. And I just don't think, we have room for pride, especially women.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
kind of hate
mean?
that word pride too, don't you? I feel like everybody uses it now.
Except when it comes to lions, I think it's cool. I like the categories of animals, prides, parliaments, murders.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hallie.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Anyway, what about your daughter playing banjo?
Oh, no, my daughter was telling me that the banjo, that is clearly an instrument from the American South. I think it came from that movie I've never seen, but there's a movie that's like, and
Oh, Ray?
it's like a hunting movie. I don't want to watch a lot of
hunting movie, okay.
Yeah, but I think the banjo originated in American, I think it's a horror film maybe, because it scared a lot of men, a banjo movie.
Oh, okay,
And,
I don't know any banjo movies.
but now the liberals are trying to say that the banjo came from Africa. And I can't even keep up with the amount of misinformation that my kids are getting simply by educating themselves, And again, I go back to say that like Jesus did not call educated disciples except for Matthew.
Yeah.
And that's why like we really have to be careful with, people are like, why currently is the government shutting down the Department of Education? Well, because guess what? Education never led a single person to Christ.
Right. And, what kind, I'm always asking the hard, interesting follow-up because I'm always looking a bit deeper and a bit into it. And I'm going, what kind of education?
Yeah.
What kind of education?
Yeah. It's significant that the more education people get, the more educated a person gets, the more likely they are to be liberal. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? So
now if it's Christian education, I think that's good because what you're doing is you're putting arrows in your quiver, as it were, to be able to puncture any possible argument that people would have coming from the secular world. I think that's good. But I would like to put Christian education in more places, if you know what I mean.
Just in the same way you don't have to call it men's studies, you can just call it medicine. In the same way, you don't have to call it Christian education, you can just call it indoctrination, which is a good word.
Well,
it's a good thing.
It is back to school season, Hallie, and I always say a prayer for all my teens who, go to secular public high schools.
It grieves the heart of God.
Just to say, really guard your hearts, put on the armor of Christ.
Yep.
Because even in Indianapolis, which for the most part, we have pretty good schools. You always have these sleeper cells of atheists and secular teachers who are going to come and try to indoctrinate your kids. I mean, are you really interfacing with the teachers and making sure that your kids aren't having this indoctrination, Hallie?
Well, yeah, because I go to parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, does Lance go too?
He has never been to
really?
one of the, I don't know, at this point, I'm in the hundreds, but he just came for the first time.
Oh, great. Sorry, you're in the hundreds of what?
Parent-teacher conferences
Oh,
that
I'm
I've
sorry.
done
I thought you
through
were
the
talking about
dozens
your
of years
age,
with
and I
all my
thought,
children.
okay.
Oh,
For a second, I was like, really? And then, I don't really, I know you're older, but I didn't think you're that old.
Oh, I only feel in the hundreds.
Okay. So
But
how does it go when Lance comes to parent-teacher conference for the first time.
Oh, it was so awesome. I was so happy to have him there. I kept, as we were getting out of the car, I said, thank you for joining me. This is so exciting. As we were walking down the hallways, I said, thank you so much for being here. This is awesome. He did trip coming in the door because now, the schools have heavier doors and stuff, for all of the shooters and stuff. So he tripped coming in through some like security doorways because he was watching he has two phones that he watches, ESPN and ESPN2 on at the same time.
Okay.
And so he did trip really badly coming into the school and hurt his knee. And so then he was quiet during the actual parent-teacher conference. I think it was because his knee hurt and because there was a really good game on. And he was watching picture-in-picture on both phones. So he was watching 4 games at the same time on 2 phones, like during the parent-teacher conference. But I mean, right now I'm trying to meet with so many different teachers because of all my girls, but I don't go to all the girls' parent-teacher. Sorry, I'm having sometimes my words. I don't know what's wrong with my brain lately.
You don't go to the ones for the ladies?
Not all of them. I'll go to one like if there's a problem or if I'm being summoned directly.
Oh, I see.
But
so you went to the ones for Day.
I went to my son Day's parent-teacher conferences every year to, make sure what's going on and all that. Because speaking of arrows, Day, my son Day is my best arrow that I'm shooting out into the world from my quiver,
Well, that arrow is gonna need a little straightening out before you do that.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I had to have a talk with Day the other day.
What?
Because, I love to check in with my teens, love to see what they're up to. And it was just a bit, how do I say this? Boring. When you have a teen who the first thing out of their mouth is, and talk about going back to pride. I said, hey, Day, are you excited about school? How's it going? And what kind of classes are you taking?
Oh, no.
Halle, every single one of his classes that he said started with AP. And I'm going, AP? And he said, I'm taking AP Psych, AP Bio, AP Calc, AP this, AP that.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, what is this AP? And of course I went on ChatGPT and I looked it up. And I guess that means advanced placement.
Yeah.
So he's basically taking college classes in high school, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And then and because I'm always asking one question deeper, I'm asking and I'm going, okay, AP, advanced placement, what college? You know what I mean? What college are these classes coming from?
Oh, no.
Because, great. If it's AP, psychology, Arizona State, Boise State, somewhere like, even I would say Prager University, great. But then what if it's AP coming from a place like Wesleyan? I've never really met or heard of anyone ever going to Wesleyan, but it's definitely something that I would say, are they trying to export classes into our schools to try to secretly make everyone a lesbian?
Oh my gosh, it could definitely be that. There is a very hard push to make kids gay.
Right. And I think you need to follow up with him and at least with the principal and say, okay, yes, AP, but where are the APs coming from? And you can thank me later, Halle, for asking the hard questions, the next question, the follow-up, as it were.
It grieves the heart of God. I mean, maybe what we need to do is, because, Christians are really good and strategic about this stuff in the same way we're currently having to redraw all the district lines so that we can get some goodness gracious representation in this country.
I know.
In the same way. I mean, maybe we should really get into the textbook business, maybe this is something Focus on the Family can do. If we could infiltrate all the textbooks.
Halle, it's funny, we didn't even bring it up in the last few weeks. Of course, I've been wearing all black and flying the flag in front of, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but my friend Clay Mason Bannerman flag is at half-mast, and we are in mourning. We are just one of our great leaders is gone, and we are flying the flag at half-mast. I'm wearing black still, and I just want everybody to know that James Dobson died.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It has been tough.
Yeah.
It has been really tough.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was foul play, but it just really has been hard because He was, I would say, the granddaddy, the big daddy of some of the greatest, most powerful ideas that we've ever had in the church.
Well, I mean, there was so much controversy surrounding that death because I know that two major media outlets, before we even knew what took the life of, acclaimed author and psychologist James Dobson, doctor.
He was a doctor, yeah.
James Dobson. Before they even knew the cause of his death, these media outlets were already trying to pin it on the Christians.
What do you mean, for killing him?
Yep.
What?
Yeah. Of course they were. And they said that, they could tell in some of the casings of different like IV tubes and stuff, there were etched these messages that were messages of GOP dressing up as Antifa, dressing up as GOP, trying to switch each other's messages around the death. And it grieves the heart of God.
And it is weird because if you think about it, yes, he was getting on in years, but he was healthy. He had all his faculties. I just want to know who was around Dobson when he died and who was responsible basically for his death, because there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now, but I'm the one asking the next question. Do you know what I mean? Which is, what's really going on that James Dobson seems a bit weird that he would die now. Of all the times he could have died, he dies now. And I just think, there's something very strange about that.
Yeah. And there's always going to be people trying to claim responsibility for these high profile men in power and their deaths and all of that. But I think that he died in a way that he would approve of, well,
how did he die?
How did he die?
I mean, there's a lot of things on the internet right now. Some have said in this really strange, ironic way, he was just going through a door at his house that had a bit of a spring action to it.
Yeah.
And as they said, don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. It did hit him there. And somehow that caused some kind of rupture or something. And that it did split him in half. That's one of the things that's out there. Others are saying other things. But I just find it so strange that, okay, that happened now. Why did that happen now? You know what I mean? And I actually don't like that term, don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you, because in James Dobson's case, it did split him and he just split right in half.
Wow, what a way to go. What a way to go. But you know what? If he went like with a little bit or a lot of a spanking, what a gift to die doing something you love. You know what I mean? That's what all of us want to do. Whether it's you want to die of laughter, or you want to die in your sleep, or you want to die choking on some fettuccine Alfredo or just a great white cake with white frosting. I mean, die doing what you love. And so honestly, in the same way that he suggested parents place paddles all over the house where the strong-willed child could see their fate, being in their face in every room they were in. And I was a child that grew up that way.
Oh, good.
Spanked multiple times a day, every single day, with ping pong paddles, with wooden spoons, with wooden paddles. And you know what? I feel like in the way that he encouraged parents to place paddles in plain sight of their strong-willed child all over the house, I hope he died in a Cracker Barrel in the paddle section. You know what I mean? Just surrounded by the things that he loved. And you know what? Maybe that's the source of this Cracker Barrel controversy. Okay, because there's also been a Cracker Barrel controversy lately too, and that could be tied into the Dobson, the whole thing.
Maybe maybe the rebranding. Isn't it weird that the rebranding of Cracker Barrel, where they literally took the image of James Dobson off of the logo, that was him next to the barrel. Don't know if people knew that was based on him.
He was chilling.
I know that they took him off that, and then he got split in half.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
You know, Halle, it's just, and I'm making these connections. I'm asking these questions. I'm a part of several Telegram groups that are really getting into this, of just Christian men who have the time and energy to be asking these questions, which, is awesome. But I've tried to do this, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but my friend Clay Mason Bannerman's son, Popsicles, is at that age where spanking is necessary. And I had done that, where I had hung a bunch of different objects around the house. There were, there was definitely a paddle. There was a little riding crop, a tiny whip, a couple of the, just little items to go, hey, bud, do you see these? These are things that if you step out of line and misbehave. But Clay won't do it. Clay kind of lets him do whatever he wants. And I'm like, well, he's not my son. And so I think it's important to have those, hanging up as the reminder. And if people were to ever come over to Clay's, that's why I put those up there. But, I think influences are also really the thing. These kids are being influenced by the internet, by what they're seeing on Twitch or Switch or whatever. And in our case, Popsicles is just being influenced so much by a stupid, and I hate to use that word, but I will, dumb, idiot neighbor, Donovan Geo. And especially in the fall season, because he calls it pumpkin spice season, and he's wearing orange and black Y-fronts around his yard. It's already, possible. We've got frost in the morning right now.
Yep.
And he's out there. And, Halle, he's got all these dumb catchphrases around pumpkin spice season, which is, he'll come in and he'll be like, I've got a list of who's naughty and spice.
Naughty and spice?
And I'm like, what? It's not even the saying. Naughty and spice.
Naughty and spice?
He'll say, or pumpkin in the front, spice in the back.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He says it's about the pumpkin patch that he's planted in the front of his house. He grows pumpkins in the front yard. I don't know what the spice in the back is.
I think he's talking about in the front where his genitals go. His genitals.
No, he's not. I mean,
yes, because that could be a gourd. That could be the pumpkin in the front,
well, not
and
in
the
his case,
spice
Ellie.
around the back is anytime he. That's the spice coming out the back. That's like this pumpkin. Yes, that's what he is talking about. He's talking about leading with his genitals and propelling himself with his gas.
Well,
he is.
Halle, I don't even want to get into that. I don't even know what you're really talking about, but all I know, he's a bad influence. I'll give you that. And I just don't like anybody whose whole identity is wrapped up in a flavor of some kind of strange root vegetable.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it with that?
In the fall?
Yeah,
pumpkin spice flavor?
Do you like pumpkin spice flavor?
Oh, totally. I get my Yankee candles. I get it in my Frappuccino. I do all of it.
I mean, you see all these memes, the girlies liking pumpkin spice season. The girlies are all going down for pumpkin spice season and everything. What is it? And the other day, I'm going into Starbucks, which I love, that is where I meet a lot of my teens who come to Climax and just do a devotional or whatever.
Cool.
There were so many blonde ladies in big floppy hats with scarves on. It was still pretty warm outside. I mean, it was like September 2nd. And they're all going, the girlies love pumpkin spice season. And I'm just going, I can't even look at the girlies right now. I'm just, they've got their riding boots. A bunch of them were carrying saddles. Some of them had dream catches hanging from their ears. It was just a lot of turquoise, a lot of inexplicable turquoise.
And I know what kind of pants they were wearing with those riding boots.
What?
Yoga pants that show everything you got in the back and in the front. Speaking of pumpkin and spice, I mean, and most of these women are wearing these Lululemon leggings.
I'm begging for the leggings to go away. Begging for the leggings to go away.
And then you know what they do, speaking of spice, they wear these thong underpants under the yoga so that there's not even a panty line to be seen on the cheek, so that all you're seeing is pure cheek, because they got this G-string in there fart splitting. You know what I mean? Speaking of spice. Well, you're the one that brought up the spice, and we all know what that is.
Well, I will say that spice, when females show up to climax, and right now they're all wearing aloe, A-L-O, and I'm like, hey, goodbye. You're going to go right back home. You can come in here and say wearing aloe, and I'm going to say goodbye, and you can go right back home and change out of that and put on something a bit more modest and a bit more basic.
Yeah. Purity culture does not mean pure cheek, okay? So let's put an extra layer over that cheek so that there's full Cotton Hanes underpants underneath. I think it should be a blousy linen pant, honestly. If we're going to wear anything on the bottom, keep it blousy, ladies. You know what I mean? Because guys are doing everything in their power to not be doing women's studies. And by that, I mean the way that the male eyes graze over the surface of a woman's body constantly.
I've got teens that are getting their PhD in women's studies right now, and if you know what I mean. And I just think it's an extra season of just these teens being so horned up. And that's the only way that I can put it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's something in the pumpkin spice that makes these teens just absolutely want to sneak off and try to finger any way possible. And I don't even really know what that is. It's just what they say.
You know, we really need a Christian company like a Chick-fil-A, like a Hobby Lobby. We need that in the coffee industry. We need a Christian Starbucks that is as big or bigger than
Gloria
Starbucks.
Jeans? It just tastes bad, though.
Yeah, I know.
And I hate
but if
to
you
say
put
this,
enough sugar in it, I put 14 packets of sugar in all my coffees, and I even put that in my frappuccinos.
I think Gloria Jean, actually the woman who started Gloria Jean's coffee, was a missionary.
Awesome.
Doesn't it sound like that?
Definitely. I mean,
and I think she was martyred.
Yeah. Or no, her husband was martyred by these island people who said, don't come here, we'll kill you.
Oh, that was her husband?
Yeah. There are these, evidently, not everybody knows this because, nobody wants to know it, but there are still these people groups living like as if in other eras, like untouched by modernity.
Yes.
And when we send these Christian missionaries in there, these savage people groups who still are doing bow and arrows and stuff, haven't upgraded to drones or anything, wouldn't know a drone if it dropped on them out of the sky. They're killing Christian missionaries left and right. And then those wives have to come back and start lesser coffee companies.
Yeah. I do always, and this is just me because I'm always asking kind of the harder questions. And I put this to my teens the other day. I said, can you imagine someone coming up to you and saying, hey, can I tell you some good news? And you turn around and shoot them with a bow and arrow? I mean, that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. That is what we're dealing with in not just bow and arrows. And I'm going, it's just evil. It's evil.
It's Lucifer himself. Lucifer knows how to get to the remote islands, y'all, because he's in charge of Earth. First question, as you know, that I'm going to ask God at the pearly gates is, why did you have to make babies come from sex? I think I have some issues with that idea.
That's your first question?
Yes. The second question I'm going to ask is, why, when you've got this fallen angel who's hell-bent on destruction and revenge and propagating evil, why send him to planet Earth as his sort of like prison sentence until the final battle when God can obliterate him once and for all. Why, if God is so totally obsessed with human beings, he love a Homo sapien. God love a Homo sapien. What?
Nothing.
Anyway, if the object of God's greatest affection is the Homo sapien, why would he send Lucifer here to F with us, frankly, and forgive my French, for over 2,000 years?
I know.
Why would he send his enemy here to just be hell-bent on destruction of God's favorite species?
And it's hard, these are the kind of questions that I don't think you need to worry about, Halle. It's the kind of questions that we do discuss in my Telegram group, among other things.
Oh, cool.
But, I'll just give you an example from my life, which is, when you have a neighbor like I do, you're kind of going, oh, I get it. I can see how life can be pretty good, but then you've essentially got Satan running around and destroying things. It's kind of a great metaphor for what Donovan Geo does in my life. And it helps me understand what God was thinking when he, put Satan on earth to kind of run amok, because things can be good. You're going to have to deal with the difficulties, the footfalls that Satan puts in your way. And then at least we have the promise that Jesus is coming back any day now, and we are out of here, and we're going to leave idiots like Satan, aka Donovan Geo, behind.
I'm inspired by that kind of language. Yeah. I have to ask, and it grieves the heart of God, and it hurts me to even ask, but I'm just hoping beyond hope, because this has been at the top of my prayer list. Has Donovan Geo put on some pants?
I've never seen him in pants. And in fact, I woke up this morning and first thing I heard coming through the friggin' window on the second floor balcony was, "Can't stop humping when you've got this pumpkin." All right, folks, that's the episode. Many thanks to our Supercast members for those great suggestions. Hey, speaking of Supercast, it's a great time to join. There's a free trial, and that is the best way to make sure that Mega keeps going.
If you'd like to listen ad-free, if you would like behind-the-scenes podcasts, and if you would like Discord access and much, much more, go to mega.supercast.com and become a supporter today. That's mega.supercast.com.
And really, it is the way we keep going, so please consider a Supercast membership. A very special thanks to our founding members. That's Bobby and Betty, Nana and T-Pop, Adrian O, Kristen A, and Anonymous. You know who you are. Thanks.
And as always, I'm Holly Laurent playing Halle Labont, and that over there, that's Greg Hess playing Gray Haas.
See you next time.